Sweden has been suffering from the inundation of immigrants at the hands of its former Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson. The law and order situation in the country has been toppled by the huge migrant flow, and the former PM had also accepted her incompetency in dealing with the issue. The Scandinavian country was reduced to a crime site, but Andersson kept on blaming the criminals and sat back with folded hands. Data suggests that gang violence has been much more prevalent in the country as compared to the other EU nations. But the recently concluded elections brought a ray of hope for the country. The immigrants who have rocked the nation with the violent riots and crimes are now breathing their last in today's Sweden. All thanks to the newly elected Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson, who has gone tough against the fluid migration policy of Andersson's regime. Hello and welcome to TFIGlobal, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of TFI Media Group. I'm your host Akanksha. Let us begin. Under Magdalena Andersson's Democratic Party, the once safest nation in the world saw a dramatic transformation. Sweden now stands at the #1 position in Europe in terms of fatal shootings. Notably, in early 2000s, Sweden had the best crime statistics in the region. However, by 2019, it reported the maximum number of shootings in Europe. According to a report by the Swedish National Council for Crime Prevention released in 2021, the crimes were found to be higher in areas inhabited by immigrants as compared to other regions in Sweden. But now the country is all set to firmly close its doors to the migrants. According to local media, Sweden has suggested amendments to its immigration rules in an effort to convert permanent residents to temporary status. The General Director of Migration Agency, Mikael Rebenvik, told SVT Nyheter that an investigation will look at the circumstances under which the current permanent residence cards may be converted to temporary residence permits. This would be the first instance of its occurring in Sweden. This has never happened before, added Rebenvik. Approximately 300,000 people in Sweden currently have permanent residency cards, which give them unrestricted access to the nation for the duration of their stay. Rebenvik acknowledged that the proposal might worry some of these folks. The Swedish government's intention to do away with permanent residency is another step in the nation's fight against immigration. Last month, the right-wing government and Sweden Democrats reached a deal called the Tito Agreement, which proposes drastic immigration measures and a reduction of refugees coming into Sweden from 5,000 per year to just 900. It also calls for the elimination of the system of permanent residency permits and the potential return of those who have not assimilated. Clearly, the new Prime Minister is going tough against the immigrants who are creating a ruckus on Swedish land. Ever since they flooded the country, gang crimes have been fueled in large numbers. Since 2020, many high-profile killings have taken place. As a result, Deputy National Police Chief Mats Löfving had to issue a statement where he pointed out that 40 migrant clans are operating in Sweden and held them responsible for the violence. He said these clans have come to Sweden solely to organize crime. They work to create power, they have a great capacity for violence, and they want to make money. And they do that through drug crimes, violent crimes, and extortion. As per reports, the authorities identified 60 vulnerable areas in Sweden. Mostly inhabited by immigrants, the unemployment rates and crimes are higher in these areas compared to other regions in Sweden. For proof, with only 5.4% of the population, 50% of the shooting incidents took place in these areas. But the Social Democrats led by Magdalena Andersson failed miserably to handle the situation. However, Sweden under Kristersson is ready to take the task on its plate and is in a bid to tighten the policy. Much to the people's relief, the new government is gearing up to build a giant wall to stop the immigrants from entering the Swedish land, and at the same time, it is even preparing to throw the existing ones out of the societal fabric of the country.